said a lot. Very good fruit helps you get very good wine, and having a clear vision on where you're headed with something and not asking something to be something that it isn't. So, I mean, functionally we make 5 Cabernets. All of them have a slightly different story. The Yakima Valley kind of plays to the strengths of the Yakima Valley. We're not asking it to do Red Mountain things, right? We want it to be savory. We don't want it to, it's not kind of dried fruit and really heavy tannins. It's, brighter. There's a little bit softer, like that sort of thing. But, being clear about that when we try it, it's like, okay, well, if somebody wants Red Mountain Cabernet, we have to be solid enough to say, that wine isn't for you, you should try Kingpin. Red Mountain Cabernet, you have like dried red fruit, sometimes you've got harder tannins, it takes very well to oak. It's like, you have these sort of things that you can say, okay, well, this is what we're looking for in this wine. And if they all tasted the same, we wouldn't need to make 30 different wines. It's like I question whether we need to make 30 different wines anyway, but that's a different story. But it is fun though, because you begin to recognize the uniqueness about all these different sites. One thing I think that we do that's different is we don't do any racking, not even on Cabernet.
Interesting.
So we'll put the wine in barrel and we will leave it in barrel till just before it goes to bottle. And I think something that gets us is we can use the entire impact of new cooperage on helping to define a wine style, if we wish to do that. Also, we have a different level of, I think, integration with a particular barrel. So if we have a 100-barrel cellar and we're racking things out and putting things back to barrel multiple times, you kind of anonymize your oak profile a little bit, unless you have to jump through a lot of hoops or you move it to something neutral and then back to the new barrel again or something. It's not impossible, but it's a lot of work. And when I first started here, we would do 1 racking. And I said, well, yeah, but we're doing 1 racking and we're not having any real firm knowledge of where, like, what our cooperage is bringing us. We know we like the barrels, but we don't really know, So then I said, okay, well, all the new barrels, we will not rack. And the neutral barrels we racked. Okay, and then in comparing the neutral barrels that had been racked once to stuff that hadn't been racked at all, because a lot of it is like, oh, it softens the tannins and you're giving it oxygen, and it just really wasn't that. I mean, there wasn't structurally that big a difference. I'm like, well, why are we doing like weeks and weeks of work for something that kind of seems to anonymize something that's a real expense? A barrel's $1,200. Yeah, I mean,
a lot of money.
You can pay as much as you want. Someone will sell it to you. And I think then you have this opportunity to kind of really kind of steer a wine style with your cooperage choices. So I think that's really important. Clarity about what you're expecting from those sites. And I think a lot of people are like, I'm going to buy a ton of this Syrah and I'm going to make Northern Rhone Syrah. And I'm like, you're going to make Syrah from wherever that is, and you do it for a few years and you get a feeling for what that seems to, for what that site wants to do. And then you have to decide if that is in alignment with the style of wine that you want to produce. And if it's not, you got to find fruit from somewhere else.